Hello everyone, my name is Malka Assad, a plastic surgery resident in the US, and in this video I'm gonna talk to you about a very interesting topic, which is how to find a scholarship to study abroad. In this video we're gonna talk about the different types of scholarships available, the requirements for applying to a scholarship, and how to find such opportunities. And now let's get started. So I'm gonna start by talking about the different types of scholarships available, which will help you when you're searching for such opportunities. So I'm gonna divide them first by who is funding this scholarship, and then we're gonna divide them by the sequence in which you apply to a scholarship. So when you're looking for a scholarship, you might find scholarships funded by governments, scholarships funded by organizations, and scholarships funded by universities. And what does the government sponsored scholarship look like? So let's say the United Kingdom decided to sponsor 5 students from a specific country or from all over the world to come and study a certain subject, let's say Masters of Public Health. So these students can go back to their countries and improve healthcare in their country. So this is just an example. So the government itself is sponsoring the scholarship. Funding can also come from organizations, and these could be non-profit or NGOs or private companies. So the same as governments, they would decide to sponsor a certain number of students in a particular field so they can come study and either stay in that country or go back to their home country. And finally, universities themselves can decide to sponsor a certain number of students to study in their school or maybe another school based on what is available. So funding could come from governments, organizations, or from the universities themselves. But be aware here that the source of funding doesn't necessarily have to come from organizations or universities or governments outside your country. You might find funding opportunities or scholarships inside your country. So you might have an opportunity to study abroad or even inside your country from your government. Your university might sponsor you to study in your country for free or send you somewhere else to study this particular subject. The same with NGOs or companies, they might decide to sponsor you to stay in your country and they would fund the whole process for you or send you elsewhere. So be careful when you're searching for scholarship opportunities. Doesn't necessarily have to come from another country. So if you're living in India, you might find a funding opportunity from the UK, from Australia, from the US, or you might find a funding opportunity from India to send you elsewhere outside India or even study in India. So that's why there are so many opportunities to get the scholarship and study inside your country or outside, and these could come from organizations, from governments, universities inside or outside your country. Another way to divide these scholarships is whether the acceptance to the scholarship will grant you access to the program or these are two separate processes. And by that I mean sometimes you might get the scholarship approved, but the process to apply to a master's or to the degree is totally separate. And sometimes they're combined. So you apply, you send one application to both the degree and the scholarship, and if you get approved, you get approved for both. So how does the first one look like? So if you have a separate process, so the scholarship is separate from the degree, you generally have to have the degree approved before you get the scholarship. So let's say you apply to University of Cambridge and you get the Masters of Art approved or Medical Studies approved, and after you get that approval letter from the university, you go and apply to a scholarship that sponsors positions at Cambridge, because you realize that not all scholarships cover everything. So a scholarship, for example, from a specific organization might tell you, we only offer scholarship in university 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you're interested in that scholarship, you have to apply to these programs, because if you apply to a school outside what they cover, they won't cover it. So some scholarships, as I said, are separate. You apply to the degree, you get approved, and after you get approved, you send your application to the scholarship, assuming that this university is covered under that scholarship or this field of studying is covered under that scholarship, or you apply to both at the same time and this scholarship and the degree is the same application, you send it at the same time, and if you get approved, you get approved for both. Another thing to keep in mind is not all fields are covered by scholarships. You'll see, for example, studying medicine is extremely difficult to get a full scholarship to study medicine outside your country. So because this field is very competitive and people in their home countries, they're having difficulty getting into medical school. So certain fields are tougher to get scholarships than others. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's way harder than just getting a scholarship to study a master's degree. So just keep that in mind and look at the different criteria for a scholarship, what type of fields they cover, so you don't spend too much time trying to get an approval from a medical school and then you realize that no scholarships cover that specific degree. And the final point I want you to keep in mind when looking for opportunities is deadlines. Deadlines are extremely important when looking for a scholarship. Some people assume that they're gonna look for a scholarship, apply, and start university in a month or two. That is not realistic. Scholarships take a long time to apply, to have them review your application, send you the approval letter, and then maybe the next year you start your degree. So just keep in mind that scholarships are not gonna happen tomorrow or you're gonna start your studying the next month. So if you're planning on studying in a year, you should start applying now. Look for the deadlines because you don't want to miss a scholarship because you're 1 day or 1 week beyond the deadline. So just keep an eye on the deadlines when you're thinking about scholarship. Now let's move on to talk about how to find a scholarship opportunity. The best and easiest way to find a scholarship is through Google. It's not a secret, it's simple. Just go on Google and type scholarship in, mention the country that you're looking for and the particular type of scholarship you're pursuing. Because the more specific you make your keywords, the more specific results you'll get. So if you're looking to study medicine in the United States, type scholarship opportunities to study medicine in the United States. You might find blogs that can help you list all the scholarships available to sponsor your medical studies in the US. You might find a particular scholarship that is the one that you should be applying to or other ones. So Google is the easiest way to do that. Just be more specific in your keywords to get specific results. Another easy way of looking for scholarships is a great website called Scholarship Positions, and I'll leave the link for this website in the description below. When you go to this website, you can find the different scholarships available in different countries. So this website, along with Google search, you will probably find the majority of scholarships available. Other ways of finding scholarships are asking a friend or a senior who got accepted into a scholarship or who applied. So you can go ahead, ask them what are the criteria, which program they applied for, which program they interviewed at. This information is extremely valuable. And another way is looking at the university website itself. So if you're interested in a Master's of Business Administration or MBA at a particular university, for example, Harvard, Hopkins, you can type MBA at Harvard and then go and read about the program and see if they have any scholarship opportunities. Because if you type scholarships for MBA, maybe the website of Harvard doesn't appear on the Google search. But if you look at the university website itself, you might find funding opportunities or scholarships they give to students. So how to find scholarship positions? Google, scholarshippositions.com, the university websites, and asking friends and seniors. An important question that I get asked from students is, what does the scholarship cover? Because so many students think that the scholarship will cover everything, and that is not true. You'll find when looking for different scholarships that some scholarships sponsor you for the whole tuition, the school tuition. So if the MBA degree costs $50,000, they will pay you the whole $50,000, but they won't cover your living expenses, which are very expensive. For example, if you're living in New York City, the expenses are going to be sometimes similar to the degree expenses. If you're living in Boston, it's going to be also very expensive. But if you're living in a cheaper area, it's not going to be that bad. Some scholarships do not cover the whole tuition fee. They cover, for example, 20% of that, or 50%, or 70%. So just be careful when you see a scholarship. It doesn't mean it covers the whole tuition fee. It doesn't mean it covers the whole expenses fee. Some scholarships might cover both or cover a percentage of that, but just be aware of that. And the more the scholarship covers, the more competitive it is. So if you have a scholarship that covers everything, living expenses and tuitions, you're expecting much higher competition compared to a scholarship that covers 50% of the tuition and maybe nothing of the living expenses. So just keep that in mind when looking for the different scholarships. And some might ask, well, how do I provide living expenses if I don't have money? My parents cannot support me. And the good thing is that in most countries, when you are accepted as a student to go and study there, they might allow you to work for a certain number of hours. It's not allowed in all countries, so the law varies by country, so you can ask about that before you go in. But generally, they allow you to work, for example, for 20 hours a week or maybe 10 hours a week, which might provide you with some income to cover your living expenses. What are the requirements for applying for a scholarship? you'll find that the requirements vary a lot based on the scholarship. So you have to go to each specific scholarship and read about their requirement. But generally, things that are generally asked by most scholarships are personal statement, CV, letters of recommendation, and some papers that prove your prior studying. So if you're studying engineering or medicine, they probably need your transcripts, the curriculum that you studied. Sometimes they might ask for your diploma, but again, each scholarship has their own specific criteria and their own specific application. One thing to keep in mind is that the personal statement has to be extremely well written. And sometimes the personal statement might be the reason why they would choose you over other applicants. And we have helped so many applicants with their personal statements, with their CV. So if you're interested in having us help you edit your personal statement, improve the language, structure, advise you on the content, go ahead and check our personal statement and CV editing services that I will leave the link in the description below. And the final question I'll answer for today is, what makes a student a competitive applicant for a scholarship? You'll find different scholarships have different criteria, different ways in which they choose students, but generally they want an applicant who has done a lot, who has proved good work, good experiences throughout their journey. So scores in your school are important, and different scholarships have different emphasis on scores. Some scholarships give no emphasis at all to scores. Some scholarships use them as the main criteria for choosing applicants. So if you have higher scores on your school, that might help you, but not in all scholarships. But the thing is, sometimes after you apply to a scholarship, you already finished all these exams, so there is not much to change about that. So this is not a modifiable variable in my opinion. So if you have done well, perfect. If you are still studying, try to do well, but this is not a modifiable factor if you already finished your exams. The other factors that you can change are your work and research experiences. Research has always been shown to increase your chances of getting into anything competitive because it gives you that edge that not every student has. So you'll find so many students who volunteered somewhere, who helped children, who helped elderly patients, but they didn't do much research. And research has this unique criteria in it because you're trying to advance that field that you are in. So if you're in medicine or engineering or generally in any scientific field, doing research, you're helping humanity by what you're doing, and not everyone does that, which gives you that extra push with any application. Also, your work experiences. So if you worked in a particular field that is unique to your field of studying, that would also give you an extra push. Sometimes hobbies, interests, piano playing, music, art, sports might also give you that extra push in your application. So try to build an overall competitive application in which you have impressive work experiences, impressive research experiences, good scores, good letters of recommendation, and of course, good personal statement and CV, and we can definitely help you with that. After you apply for the scholarship, sometimes you have to interview. So it's not only the application. Some scholarships might accept you based on the application, but some scholarships might ask you to appear for an interview after the first screening. But be mindful to prepare for the interview extremely well, because your performance on the interview might be the most important factor in choosing you for the scholarship after you got invited. And we also help applicants and students with preparation for the interviews. So if you need help acing the interview, go ahead and check the link for our interview preparation sessions in the description below. So in summary, scholarships are a great way to advance your career, and there are scholarships funded by governments, organizations, or by universities, and these could be from your country or outside your country. To apply for a scholarship, you might need to get the approval from the degree separately from the scholarship application, or you might send one application for the scholarship and the degree and get approved for both at the same time. To find the scholarship, you can do a Google search. You can look at the website called Scholarship Positions, look on the university websites directly, or ask friends or seniors. When seeking scholarship positions, be mindful of the scholarship deadline. Be mindful that a scholarship doesn't necessarily cover everything, doesn't cover the whole tuition or your living expenses, but most of the times you are able to work in that country to provide some support for yourself. The requirements for scholarships vary based on the scholarship, but generally most scholarships ask for a personal statement, CV, transcripts, diploma or degrees, prior degrees you obtained, and letters of recommendation. And finally, to be a competitive applicant for a scholarship position, make sure you have a good personal statement, good CV, good letters of recommendation, good work experiences, research, volunteer experiences, and finally, if you get invited for an interview, you have great interview skills. If you find any value in this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell sign so you get notified whenever I post future videos on my YouTube channel. If you have any questions about scholarship positions or you need advice on how to get one, go ahead and schedule a consultation in the link that I will leave in the description below, or feel free to reach out to me on Instagram or Twitter at Malki Assad, my Facebook page Malki Assad MD, or our email info@thematchguy.com. Thank you everyone so much for watching, and good luck on your scholarship.